Welcome to another edition of Cooking with Geek. I've been living in Arkansas for about 8 weeks now, hence the stash. But the thing that I miss the most about home, the number one thing that I miss about Texas is H-E-B brand Marranitos. Mexican gingerbread pig cookies that are absolutely delicious. They're the perfect snack, and Arkansas is totally devoid of them because, and this is true, Kroger is trash. So today, we're going to make some instead. Ingredients include flour, brown sugar, baking powder, and baking soda, I don't know the difference between the two, ground cinnamon, ginger, and allspice, salt, plant butter because normal butter is immoral, buttermilk, eggs, and molasses, or as Kroger Pickup substituted, sugar-free original pancake syrup. Because, and this is true, Kroger is trash.
1/4 of butter seems like a lot of butter. 1 1/4 of brown sugar also seems like a lot.
I vaguely remember from my food and nutrition course from high school being told to either always or never pack dry ingredients into containers while baking. But I don't remember what it was. But the real joy of baking is being able to be creative and manipulate ingredients. Like a little too much or not enough sugar doesn't really matter. You get to be creative, and the end result is always something fun.
My sous chef is 100% not helping. The recipe calls for a mixer, but what millennial owns a mixer? A whisk works just fine. Probably. We need 1/3 of milk and 1 egg. Perfect. And then we just mix until smooth. 1 1/2 cinnamon, baking soda, ginger. The recipe calls for 3/4 cup of molasses, which is an absolutely disgusting amount of Kroger's sugar-free original pancake syrup. Kroger. One of the recipes also calls for a 1/4 cup of honey, so we'll throw some of that in too. I'm starting to think this might not be healthy. Starting off with 3 cups of flour. The recipe also calls for 5 to 6 cups of flours depending on altitude. Arkansas is in the mountains, so I assume 5.5 is sufficient. Looks like it worked out absolutely fine. So 3 cups in, we're at like a very creamy peanut butter texture. We're gonna just keep adding pellet. At this point, I don't know if I've added 5 cups of flour or 6 cups of flour. I was just trying to make this a more manageable mass, and I am failing. So I very clearly don't know anything about baking. I feel like I simultaneously have too much flour and not enough flour. I don't know how I'm going to course correct. I'm trying to gather up all the powder that's been left behind. I don't want to add more liquid, but I also feel like that might be what I need to do. Predictably, I've added too much flour, so we're going to add some more buttermilk and see if we can get our ratios back to where they're supposed to be. I won't add too much, but we'll go incrementally until we make something edible. That was probably too much. We're gonna throw in some more flour. That's probably good. After adding some more flour and some more milk, I have what appears to be dough-like texture, but I don't really know what dough-like texture I'm supposed to be looking for. One of the recipes calls for baking powder, another one didn't, so we're just gonna ignore it. I realize now that I did not pick up parchment paper. Plastic wrap works. It'll probably work. Just throw some flour down. And we're good to go. There's no surprise that I don't own a rolling pin, but over the years, Amazon has given me a lot of reusable water bottles, so I'll use one of those instead. Let's go. Now it's fully rolled out. Now that the dough is fully rolled out, it's worth mentioning that upon reading the instructions, I was not supposed to roll the dough out at this time. Always reread instructions while cooking. The dough should get wrapped in plastic wrap and put in the fridge for an hour. It's been in the fridge for the last hour, so now I need to cut it in half, refrigerate the other half of it, and then roll the other part into a 1/4 inch dough to then cut into big cookies. That's probably about half. Perfect. Now we just need to roll it out to a 1/4 inch, which that seems probably like a 1/2 inch. I don't know. Dough has kind of an inconsistent thickness, but I think it's around a 1/4 inch. So now I'm going to start cutting out pigs. I don't have a cookie cutter, but I do have a knife. Okay, so we're just gonna go around. Perfect. So I got 4 pigs out, pretty much no problem. Now we're just gonna fold the dough back together, roll it out once more, and try to get a few more. They're looking more like a 1/2 inch than a 1/4 inch, but it's inconsistent, so it'll probably be okay. It should be noted that rolling it out a second time is noticeably more difficult, but we're still good to go. At this point, we're at the point of diminishing returns, so we're on to the second sheet. This big boy looks like it's a solid 3/4 of an inch thick. It's gonna be a whole lot of work to get him down to size. And we're good to start round 2. Now that I understand how hard it is to cut the pigs out, I'm being a lot more conservative with how I'm cutting to try to save time and effort. But I would like to know, Little Rock, Arkansas, which is known for go hogs or whatever, there's pigs all over this place, doesn't have a bakery that sells Marranitos.
This seems like it would make a killing here. This entire city is dedicated to hog worship anyways. Why aren't there pig cookies?
I combined the scraps of round 1 and 2. Now it's time for round 3. Let's go. Now we're at the point where we're just getting creative. But, yeah. That's a pig. We went pretty good at cutting out pigs.
Just at the oven, 350 degrees for the pigs. I don't have any parchment paper to put the pigs on, but I can put them straight on a cookie sheet. I also don't have a brush for my egg wash, but I do have a paintbrush. So there's that.
So looking at the pigs, I got my big boys over here. I have a couple loose pieces of gingerbread over here. I have this boy that I didn't try on at all. Then I got my big boys over here. And then over yonder, I think this is my most anatomically correct pig. I have a little elephant. I have the beast that Luke Skywalker hid in on Hoth in that movie a long time ago. By and large, I think it was a success. With just a little bit left over, and I'll make that into a pig soon. Alright, the pigs are all washed up. They're ready to bake. Typical Keek fashion, my oven isn't big enough to fit all the pans, but we made it work. Thank you, Pyrex. Pigs have been in the oven for about 12 minutes. They aren't going to brown yet, so we're going to leave it there. These two pigs aren't helping at all. They just continuously get in the way, and I have a little bit of gingerbread left, so I'm going to make a couple more pigs and throw them in after the first batch is done. It looks like the pigs on the bottom were a little bit hotter than the pigs on top. On the bottom have a great golden brown from that egg white. They look like they're done. The pigs on top still have a little bit more time to go. These guys are not a fan of the oven opening. Now it's the second batch to come out. They seem kind of golden brown, but also they're probably just too thick. And the last batch is out, looking just like the others. And with that, pigs are done. And they're pretty alright. TV, please open in Arkansas.